This channel on YouTube called That Guy reached over 219,000 subscribers with some of the simplest visuals you can imagine. He only has 44 videos and already generated over 15 million views, which is honestly insane. And it's not just him. This channel reached over 500,000 subscribers doing the same thing. No expensive studio, no cinematic footage, just clean stick figure animations, simple storytelling, and useful lessons. And that is exactly why this niche is so interesting. Because the videos look simple from the outside, but when you actually break them down, there is a real system behind them. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I would build a Stickman animation channel from scratch using AI tools. You're going to learn how to give your channel the right branding, how to give your script the right structure that it needs, how to create a consistent character, how to create the visuals and the voiceover, and the final video still has to feel original, not like another low-effort AI copy. And to make this easier, I created two resources for you. The first one is a Google Doc prompt. That prompt basically acts like the production engine for the entire workflow. It tells the AI what to do, what state to follow, how to create the branding, how to write the script, how to create character variants, how to generate animation prompts, and how to create thumbnails. The second resource is a source PDF. The PDF is there to give the AI a creative direction. It includes things like visual style, thumbnail ideas, character variants, animation structure, and overall tone. So instead of guessing the style from scratch, the AI has a proper reference document to understand the world we are trying to create. And that makes a huge difference. Because if you just ask a chatbot, "Make me a Stickman channel," the result is usually way too generic. But if you give it a structured prompt and a source document, it can follow a much more consistent process. Now, before we get into the full workflow, I want to make one thing clear. The goal here is not to copy any channel. The goal is to understand the broad format and then create something original. Original scripts, original characters, original thumbnails, original animation prompts. That is also important if you actually want to build something long-term and avoid problems with reused or repetitive content. So by the end of this video, we are going to have the full pipeline. We are going to set up the AI prompt, upload the source PDF, create a script, generate a voiceover, create a Stickman character, turn that character into animated scenes, edit everything together, make the thumbnail, and finally set up the channel branding. Alright, so the first thing we need is the brain of the entire workflow. For this, you can use a chatbot. You have a few options here. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Claude, you can use DeepSeek, or you can use any strong model that allows you to paste a long prompt and upload a document. For this tutorial, I'm going to use DeepSeek because it is free and it works well for this kind of step-by-step workflow. But honestly, the exact chatbot is not the most important part. The important part is the system we give it. That system is inside the Google Doc. So I'm going to open the Google Doc first. Inside this document, you will see the full production prompt. I will put the link of the entire Google Doc with the PDF attached to it in the description of this video. You can just copy the prompt and download the PDF for free. Or you can just comment "prompt" and I'll send it to you. This is the part that controls the entire process. It tells the chatbot that it is supposed to act like a Stickman documentary production engine. And instead of just randomly generating one script or one prompt, it moves through different states. That is really important, because if you ask for everything at once, the output usually becomes messy. But if you make the AI work step by step, the result is much easier to control. So the first thing I'm going to do is copy the full production prompt from the Google Doc. Then I'm going to paste it into DeepSeek. Before I send it, I want to make sure I'm using the correct model. Once that is ready, I'll hit send. Now the chatbot should understand the basic workflow. It knows that it needs to wait for the source PDF, and that PDF is the second resource I made for this video. So now I'm going back to the Google Doc. Near the top of the document, there is a link to the Stickman Source Pack PDF. This is the document that gives the AI the creative direction. Again, we are not using this to copy anything, we are using it as a style reference. The PDF contains channel branding examples, title ideas, writing structure, visual rules, character ideas, thumbnail directions, and even sample script material. It also explains the general world we want to create. White line art stick figures, pure black background, simple props, supportive self-improvement tone, short, practical lessons. That is the kind of direction the chatbot needs before it can create something useful. So I'll download the PDF to my computer. Then I'll go back to DeepSeek and attach the PDF. Once the file is attached, I'll type something simple like PDF attached. Then I'll send it. At this point, the chatbot will read through the document and absorb the source material. And once it has understood the PDF, it should tell us that it is ready to begin. Now we can type Go. This moves the chatbot into the first real stage, which is channel branding. And this is where the workflow starts becoming useful. Instead of me sitting there trying to invent a random channel name, the chatbot gives me a list of original name ideas based on the style and direction from the PDF. It can also generate short channel descriptions, a logo prompt, and a banner prompt. This is already a big time saver, because when you start a channel, it is easy to waste hours thinking about the name, the logo, the banner, and the description. But here, the chatbot gives us a starting point immediately. And because it has the PDF, the branding should actually match the type of content we are creating. For example, if the channel is about simple self-improvement lessons, the names should feel clean, minimal, and practical. Not too dramatic, not too motivational guru, not too complicated. Just something that fits the Stickman style. Once the chatbot gives me the branding options, I can pick the one I like best. And if I don't like any of them, I can ask it for more. That is the nice part about this workflow. You are not locked into the first output. The AI gives you a direction, and then you can adjust it. After that, we move to the video idea stage. To continue, I'll type Next. Now the chatbot gives us video ideas that match the channel style. These are not random ideas. They follow the title structure from the prompt. So you get titles like, Building Discipline is Easier Than You Think, Actually, or Confidence is Surprisingly Simple, Here's Why, or Time Management is Easier Than You Think, Actually. That type of title works well because it creates curiosity without sounding too clickbait. It also fits the Stickman self-improvement niche. The viewer immediately understands the topic, but the title still creates a small promise. It says, This thing you struggle with might be simpler than you think. And that is a strong angle for this kind of content. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose one of the ideas and generate a short example video. The chatbot will ask how long the script should be. You can choose anything from a short 15-second script to a longer 10-minute video. For this demonstration, I'll keep it short and choose 1 minute. That way we can move through the full process without making the project too complicated. Once I send the duration, the chatbot calculates the approximate word count and writes a full narration script. This is where the source PDF becomes useful again, because the script should not sound like a generic AI script. It should follow the style we defined. Short sentences, relatable opening, a practical reframe, one simple tool, and a supportive ending. That is basically the structure of these videos. You start with a problem the viewer recognizes. Then you explain the hidden pattern behind it. Then you give one small tool they can actually use. And finally, you end with a small identity shift. So the viewer does not just feel informed, they feel like they can act differently. Once the script is generated, I'll read through it. If something feels too generic, I can ask the chatbot to rewrite it. If it sounds too dramatic, I can ask for a calmer tone. If it sounds too robotic, I can ask for more natural phrasing. The important thing is not to accept the first output blindly. Use the AI as a starting point. Then, shape it into something that actually sounds watchable. For this example, the script looks good enough, so I'm going to continue to the next step. And now that we have the script, we need to turn it into a voiceover. And for this part, you have a few different options. You can use free text-to-speech tools. You can use built-in voice tools from editing software. You can use Google AI tools, or you can use a dedicated voice platform like 11 Labs. The tool you choose depends on what you care about most. If you only care about keeping everything free, then you can use a free voice generator. But if you want the video to feel more premium, the voice quality matters a lot, especially with this type of channel, because the visuals are intentionally simple. It is just a stickman on a black background. So the voice carries a big part of the video. If the voice sounds robotic, cheap, or emotionless, people will notice immediately, and that can make the whole video feel low effort, even if the script and animation are good. So for this tutorial, I'm going to use 11 Labs. Now, you don't have to use 11 Labs. There are other options. But I like it because the voices usually sound more natural, and you get more control over the delivery. Once I'm on 11 Labs, I'll log in with my Google account. After logging in, I'll go to the text-to-speech section. This is where we can paste our script and turn it into audio. Before generating anything, I want to choose the model and the voice. If there is a newer model available, I usually prefer using that because it tends to handle pauses, emotion, and tone better. The exact interface might change over time, but the idea is simple. Choose a strong voice model. Choose a voice that fits the content. Then paste the script in smaller chunks. And that last part is important. Do not paste a huge block of text and expect the voice to sound perfect. Long text can sometimes make the voice sound flat or glitchy. So what I like to do is copy the script in sections, maybe a few sentences at a time. Then I generate the voiceover section by section. This gives me more control. If one section sounds weird, I can regenerate only that part instead of doing the whole thing again. For a Stickman motivation video, I want the voice to sound calm, clear, and natural. Not overly dramatic, not like a movie trailer, not like a fake motivational speech, more like someone explaining a useful idea in a simple way. So I'll paste the first part of the script into 11 Labs. Then I'll listen to the result. If it sounds too robotic, I'll regenerate it. If it sounds too fast, I'll adjust the pacing if the tool allows it. If the emotion feels wrong, I can change the voice, the model, or even slightly rewrite the sentence. This is one of those steps where small changes can make the final video feel much better. Because again, with minimalist animation, the voice is doing a lot of the work. Once I get a section that sounds good, I'll download it. Then I'll repeat the same process for the rest of the script. Generate, listen, regenerate if needed, download. And I'll keep all the voiceover files in one folder so the editing process stays organized later. Now, one more thing I want to mention here. If you are trying to build a channel that can actually get monetized, do not treat the voiceover like an afterthought. A lot of low-effort AI channels sound almost identical because they use the same robotic voices with the same pacing and no real editing. That is exactly what we want to avoid. The goal is not just to create something quickly. The goal is to create something that feels intentional. So take the extra few minutes to make the voice sound clean. Now that we have the voiceover, the next step is creating the character. So I'll go back to the chatbot and type next. At this stage, the prompt should move into the character selection part, and this is where it gives us different Stickman variants. The reason this matters is consistency. If every video has a different character style, the channel does not feel like a brand. But if the character stays the same across videos, thumbnails, and animations, the whole channel starts to feel more recognizable. In my prompt, the character options are simple. You can have a plain stickman, a stickman with a tie, a stickman with a suit, a clown version, or a lab coat version. All of them use the same basic visual language. White line art, black background, simple face, same proportions, no complicated details. The only thing that changes is the costume detail. For example, the tie version might work well for productivity, work, and confidence topics. The lab coat version might fit learning, experiments, or psychology-style videos. The clown version could work for more humorous topics like awkwardness or overthinking. And the plain version is probably the cleanest if you want the channel to feel very minimal. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose one variant and lock it in. That means DeepSeek should use this exact character for every chapter, every animation prompt, and every thumbnail prompt from this point on. This is important because image and video models can drift. If you are not strict with the character reference, the figure might slowly change from scene to scene. One scene has a different face, another scene has different proportions, and before you know it, the video looks inconsistent. So the prompt creates a locked character description. Now that we've locked in our character, we need to actually generate it. For this, I'm going to use Google Flow first because Flow actually allows you to create unlimited images for free. Once you're inside Flow, create a new project and switch over to image generation. Then, simply copy the character prompt that the chatbot gave you and paste it into the prompt box. Hit generate and wait a few seconds. What we're looking for here is a clean reference image, simple, consistent, and easy for video models to follow later. Now let's do the same thing inside Gemini. I'll open Gemini, paste the exact same character prompt, and generate another version. The reason I'm testing multiple models is because every model interprets prompts slightly differently. Sometimes one model simply matches the style you're looking for a bit better. So I usually generate a few versions and compare them side by side. After a couple of generations, just pick the one you like most and download it. This image is important because it's not only your character reference, it's also the image we're going to attach to the animation prompts later. In other words, this isn't just a profile picture for the channel, it's the foundation for the entire animation pipeline. And it's not limited to the character either. You can use the exact same image models to generate additional assets for your animation sequences. For example, if a chapter needs a specific object, a visual metaphor, a scene element, or another supporting graphic, you can generate those images inside Flow or Gemini as well. Then, those images can be used as references when creating the animated scenes. So Flow and Gemini aren't only useful for creating the character, they're useful throughout the entire production process. Once you've got your final character reference saved, keep it somewhere easy to find. We'll be using that file repeatedly when generating the animation chapters in the next step. Now that we have our character reference image, it's time to bring it to life. For this example, I'm not going to generate an entire video. I just want to create a short test clip so we can see how the workflow works in practice. So I'll head over to Google Flow and create a new project. Once I'm inside, I'll switch over to video generation. Then, I'll upload the Stickman reference image that we created earlier. After that, I'll go back to the chatbot and copy the first animation chapter prompt it generated for me. Now I'll paste that prompt directly into Google Flow. Since this is only a test, I'm going to keep it simple and generate a short clip of around 10 seconds. Then I'll hit generate and let Google Flow do its thing. At this point, all we're really doing is giving the model two things, the character reference image and the animation prompt. The model then uses those two inputs to create the video for us. After a few moments, the clip is finished. And honestly, the result looks pretty good. The Stickman stays consistent throughout the scene, the motion feels natural, and the model does a nice job following the instructions from the prompt. Obviously, this is only a short test clip, but that's exactly what we want at this stage. We're not trying to create a full video yet. We're simply making sure the workflow works and that the character translates properly into animation. And based on this result, I'd say Google Flow does a solid job. The animation is clean, the character remains recognizable, and the overall output looks polished enough to build on. If you were creating a longer video, you'd simply repeat this same process for each chapter generated by the chatbot. But for this tutorial, a short 10-second example is enough to demonstrate how the entire animation stage works. Now that we've got our final animation clip, the only thing left is putting everything together. And honestly, this part is much easier than most people think. For editing, I usually recommend CapCut because it's free, beginner-friendly, and more than capable of handling this type of content. All you really need to do is create a new project, import your generated clips, and place them onto the timeline in the correct order. Then drag your voiceover onto the timeline underneath the video. From there, it's mostly just a matter of trimming the clips so they match what the narrator is saying. Since the clips were already generated from the script, the process is usually pretty straightforward. You're not building the video from scratch, you're mainly arranging the pieces you've already created. If you've never edited a video before and have absolutely no idea how CapCut works, I'd recommend watching a quick beginner tutorial first. There are plenty of free tutorials online that can teach you the basics in a few minutes. Once your clips are lined up with the voiceover, preview the video, make any small adjustments you want, and export the final result. And that's it. Now the last thing we need before uploading is a thumbnail. So I'll head back to the chatbot one final time and type next. At this stage, the chatbot generates thumbnail prompts based on the video we just created. Usually it gives several different variations. Each one follows a slightly different angle or composition. The nice thing is that the prompts are already tailored to the script and character we've been using throughout the workflow. So now I'm going to copy one of those thumbnail prompts and open Google Flow. Inside Flow, I'll create a new project and switch over to image generation. Then I'll paste the thumbnail prompt into the prompt box. If the prompt uses our Stickman character, I'll also upload the same reference image we used throughout the project so the character stays consistent. Then I'll hit generate. After a few seconds, Google Flow gives me several thumbnail options to choose from. And because image generation is so fast, I usually test multiple variations. I'll run a few different thumbnail prompts, compare the results, and see which one catches my attention first. That's usually a good sign, because if it catches my attention, there's a better chance it will catch a viewer's attention too. Once I've found the thumbnail I like most, I'll download it and save it alongside the finished video. And just like that, we've completed the entire workflow. We started with the production prompt and source PDF, used the chatbot to generate branding and a script, created a voiceover, generated a consistent character, turned that character into animated scenes, compared multiple video models, created a finished short animation, and finally, generated a thumbnail ready for upload. From here, it's simply a matter of repeating the process, improving with every video, and finding what works best for your channel. Hopefully this gave you a clear overview of how you can go from a simple idea all the way to a finished Stickman animation using AI tools. Before we wrap up, I also wanted to mention that AI Penguin is a brand new channel project I'm building right now. The goal of this channel is simple: share practical AI tools, YouTube automation strategies, and real workflows that can help creators build channels more efficiently and potentially earn money on YouTube. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to subscribe and stick around. I'll be posting more tutorials, experiments, tips, and behind-the-scenes breakdowns like this in future videos. And if you enjoyed this one, you might also want to check out my previous video called The Biggest Mistake New YouTube Automation Channels Make. It goes into one of the most common mistakes beginners make when starting a YouTube automation channel and how to avoid it. Other than that, thanks for watching, don't forget to like, and I'll see you in the next one.